Everyone can see the PowerPoint? Looks good?
Yes.
Okay.
Excellent. So this specific info session, for this specific one, we wanted to invite UBC students, but of course, if someone else from another university wanted to join, you were more than welcome to do it. But specifically, we want to mention how important UBC has been for the AquaHacking Challenge. This picture particularly is from a class, for the class where Rudy and Jaden were last year. I'm not sure if this was their section. Were you in this one or you were in the other classroom? I don't recall exactly. You were.
I'm just looking for myself there, but I can't.
I see Rudy in that picture.
Oh, you see me?
Yeah, you're in the very front in the left.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, so this session was exactly on January 9, and we introduced the challenge to one of the classes at the engineering department at UBCO, and from this particular class we had two teams that were finalists in our challenge last year. We have several other teams that participated in the challenge as member of UBC, and not only having the students but the support of the university in all the things related with the challenge has been fundamental. UBC has been a great partner, so we really wanted to be sure that participants from UBC are part again of this specific version of the Western Canada one. Can go to the next. That is you, Melissa.
Great, thank you. So I mentioned that AquaHacking is a program that was launched by AquaForum. So it's our flagship program, and it's a technological competition and entrepreneurial journey that engages young people in developing tech solutions for water issues. So we'll go more specifically into what is the AquaHacking Challenge and what the Western Canada Challenge is. But ultimately, the way that we can present these challenges throughout all of Canada is through our regional partnership model. And so we're very, very happy to work alongside the Okanagan Basin Water Board to present the Western Canada 2021 Challenge.
Excellent.
This is a short video.
Clean drinking water, swimmable lakes and rivers, rains that nourish our fields and sustain our ecosystems. Across Canada, many of us believe we don't need to think twice about this precious natural resource. But we are mistaken. Freshwater faces significant threats that, if left unresolved, will have long-term devastating impacts on our health, economy, and the environment. Freshwater needs your help. Make a difference through the AquaHacking Challenge, a tech innovation competition that will ignite the innovator and entrepreneur within you. Designed for students and young innovators 18 years and older, the challenge aims to engage problem solvers from across all disciplines. Register today for the AquaHacking Challenge. Build your team. Work on your tech solution. Meet experts and mentors. Develop your leadership skills. Pitch your innovative idea and launch your startup. Science, business, technology, we are all in the same boat when it comes to water. Pick up a paddle and get on board in building a sustainable water future for all. Visit aquahacking.com. You'll be amazed at what you can achieve.
Excellent. So what is the AquaHacking Challenge? I think the video gave a good description about what the challenge is, but it's a tech competition with an entrepreneurial path that engages young innovators to develop solutions to water-related issues. It's an 8-month hackathon-style competition with the idea to create innovative solutions. During the journey, you will receive a lot of mentorship, or you will have a lot of opportunities related to mentorship and workshops. And of course, at the end of it, you will have the possibility to connect with end users and potential business partners for your idea or business. That is yours, Melissa.
Thank you. So this is the timeline. So if you have done hackathons in the past, you may be more familiar with like a short, over the weekend or a 48-hour hackathon, but actually our challenge, the AquaHacking challenge, extends over many months. And so in total, it's about an 8-month-long program. So if you do make it into the finalist cohort, you will be engaged for that whole 8 months. And so we really see that this longer timeline really allows for participants to understand the water issue, to create something that is realistic and that will have an impact. It meets a real life need and will be used by end users. And so basically what you need to know here is that there are 2 pitch competitions. There's the semifinal event. It will be on May 15th for this challenge. And then the final event is in September. And that's what wraps up the challenge. So phase 1, we are in phase 1 right now, which is a combination of recruitment, so what we're doing right now, and presenting the challenge to potential participants. And that's also when teams are formed. That's when you start working on your challenge. You meet with the water issue leaders and start going through that ideation and beginnings of the prototype phase. When you get to the pitch competition in May, so the semifinal, all the teams will pitch to a panel of judges and we'll select the top 4 teams. Those top 4 teams then continue on to phase 2. They all receive a bursary of $2,000 to put towards investment of their solution. They work even more closely with mentors. At this point, they'll work a little bit more on the business angle in preparation for the final pitch in September. That's the pitch competition. September is when the seed funding prizes will be awarded. So we'll go into that in a bit, in a few slides. But beyond that, we continue to support the teams through placing them in an incubator and any other sort of support we can provide. And Rudy and Jaden may be able to speak to that, how we support through the AquaHacking alumni program. So I mentioned the prizes. They're exciting prizes. They're not insignificant amounts of money. So the top 4 teams will receive seed funding that is intended to go into development of their tech solution and launching their startup. So first place gets $20,000, second place gets $15,000, third place is $10,000, and fourth place is $5,000. So these teams also get matched up with a local startup incubator. So that's to support the continued development of their solution after the AquaHacking challenge. We also have a partnership with a law firm that offers some credits for legal services to the top 3 teams. And then we also have a really great partnership with MyTax, where if your team is eligible, you can apply for some of their programs, which help with research and development of a tech solution or of a startup. And through that prize, some of these top 4 teams can actually almost double that prize money, which is quite exciting. And we know a lot of the teams last year in 2020 took advantage of this.
Melissa,
so yeah, yes.
Did you mention the $2,000 bursary if they go to the final?
Yes, so the top 4 teams receive also receive $2,000 bursary in phase 2, and so that's when they're still in the challenge. They will get some money to support development in that way. And then, while the money prizes are exciting, there's also lots of other benefits that all the participants will get. So whether you're a finalist and you do end up going to that final competition, or your journey ends as a semi-finalist, you still get to benefit from all of these advantages. So mentorship and connecting you with experts is really key throughout the whole AquaHacking challenge. So you may meet potential future employers. Like, it's just an incredible networking experience that, as a participant, if you leverage that and you really reach out to all those contacts, you'll see your network grow like exponentially probably throughout the challenge. You'll build hard and soft skills. So you may hear about the 21st century skills, leadership and that sort of thing are really important. Employers are looking for that these days. If you're establishing your own startup, of course, that is important. So we'll offer you some workshops to be able to develop those skills. You'll solve real world problems. So these water issues that Carolina will present in a bit are sourced, like we go to the experts on the ground who are working in water, and they tell us these are our issues, we need help with this. So through your participation, you'll be helping solve those problems. You'll gain relevant work experience. I can't tell you the number of times that some of our partner organizations have emailed me and asked, are any alumni members looking for work? Because I want to employ them. They really see this sort of experience as being really valuable. It's if you reference this, on your LinkedIn or in any future interviews that you went through a program like the AquaHacking Challenge, employers really do value that quite a lot. And then finally, there's the Alumni Support Network. So all semifinalists and finalists are invited to be part of this alumni community. And that's your opportunity to stay connected to the water tech world. If you want to continue accessing professional development opportunities, that's what the Alumni Network is there for. I mentioned quickly, so we have Rudy and Jaden here who are part of the alumni community, but the first challenge was back in 2015. So we've been around now for about 6 years. And over all that time, we've had a AquaHacking alumni community build and grow. And to this day, there are still 28 startups that are active in the water space through the AquaHacking Challenge. So this is just a few examples. We can see gaps down at the bottom left who were in the 2020 challenge. And then we also have some startups from 2015 and 2016, like the earlier on challenges, that they continue to be active and are making a big difference in the water world, which is pretty cool.
Okay, now I'm going to talk about the water issues for this year. So each year, 4 water issues or 5 are selected for each of the challenge. So the participants will decide which of those are they going to tackle with their solutions. So for this particular year, for the Western Canada, we selected 4 water issues. Those water issues are supported by water issue leaders, which are experts in the area related to them, and they will be the main source of mentoring, especially on phase 1 for the participants of the challenge. So in case, for example, you are worried about that I don't have all necessarily the technical background about the water issue and you are not sure about to register, like a lot of the participants are in the same situation. This is the reason we provide the support, the technical support, so you can understand better what are the specific topics about. So for this year, the first water issue is optimization of drinking water and wastewater treatment plants. The second one is on-farm nutrient capture and recycling, which is mostly related with all the substances that go into the soil related to agriculture and other activities, and how those substances can be captured or recycled before they affect our water sources. Another one is the third one is the toxic algal blooms. And the fourth one is innovative social technologies for water information. This is basically an issue related to all of those social media apps and how those kind of technologies can be bring closer to the customers and users. So this is, of course, a very general description of the water issues, but on our website you can find more information about it. On February 15, we will release the specific webinars for each of these water issues, so you can have a much more detailed information and understanding about what those water issues are. In terms of eligibility, you probably will be asking, okay, so who can register in this challenge? For being able to register, you need to be 18 years of age and residing in Canada. And of course, we are mostly looking for creative minds, and doesn't necessarily matter the field of expertise. But of course, we are mostly doing our recruiting efforts in college and university students, undergrad and graduate ones, and also early career professionals. We are looking in different areas. It can be an engineers, programmers, digital designers, developers, water researchers, people in chemistry, computing science, business. There are many areas where we can find potential participants to that. So don't worry if you you have one of the expertise, but not the other one, because of course, through your team, you can find more people that can complement those areas that probably you are not an expert or you don't have the knowledge on. So anyway, we just want people that's a positive impact on freshwater. And if you have that, if you have that, you are welcome to join the challenge.
I'll also add Carolina here. So the Western Canada Challenge, like we are actively recruiting from the Western provinces, so Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta, and British Columbia. But given that the challenge is fully virtual, we do welcome participants from all across Canada. So if you are in, you know, the Maritimes or in Central Canada or in Ontario, Quebec, or up north, like we welcome you to register. But we will, Caroline and I are making, you know, partnering with universities like UBC and other universities in Western provinces so that we can get ensure good participation from those provinces.
So again, like in terms of the main rules, we mentioned the age requirement. In order to participate, you must be part of at least a team or 2 people. Like we have like different cases and how people join. Like for example, you are in the case of Rudy and Jaden, they already had their team when they were joining the challenge. But we have also have cases when people join individually and then they find members of their team in the platform when they register. So for example, you can join as a UBC student, and maybe when you look the profiles in the registration platform, you will find someone that you might be interested to make a member of your team. You can ask that person to do it. Or for example, you have a friend that goes to UBC Vancouver or Simon Fraser, and you think that that person will be a good partner for your team. You should just contact your friend, and if he's interested, he can join the challenge as well. Something that is very important is like each team on the results of their work in relation to the solution developed during the challenge. Of course, existing companies, startups are not eligible to compete in the challenge. And of course, in order to participate, you should register in the challenge using the platform, going to this link and registering the platform. Next one, please. And then how the registration platform works, the organization that supports all the, let me say, participant experience is called HackWorks. They are the ones who host the platform, and is where you set up your profile, your individual profile as a participant. And in case you have a team, you will also set up your team profile. So all the information and resources are managed through that platform, and that will happen until the semifinal competition. And once you join or register, like for example, if after this call you decide I'm going to join, once you do it, you will receive like a package of information, and Zenon will be the person who will contact you, and he will kind of navigate you to the process of how to understand the platform, and that will happen through a call. He does calls like every 2 weeks where the new participants can just have that information. As of now, we have more than 40 participants registered in the challenge. We just began registration like officially the recruiting in mid-January, and as of now we have already 40 people registered on that. And then, as I kind of mentioned before, hackers will communicate with you via email, Discord, and Zoom until the semifinal competition. Like depending on the kind of activity we are talking about, they will communicate with you.
Registration periods open until April 15th. So
Yes.
That may seem a long time away from now, but we encourage you, if you're interested, sign up as soon as possible, because in phase 1, you do have access to all these resources. You know, like you can connect with the water issue leaders. We have a Entrepreneurship 101 learning module that you can start doing. So the sooner you get going on those things, the better prepared you'll be for the semifinal competition in May.
Next, my dear.
So I just mentioned the resources that are available to you. So we will have a water issue webinar related to each water issue. So if you know nothing about on-farm nutrients, you can go and watch the webinar, and that will give you a good idea of those specific water issues. You'll also have access to data sets related to each water issue, so you can start building and exploring what your solution can be. We also have Ask Me Anything info sessions with the water issue leaders, as well as with members of the AquaHacking alumni community. So those are scheduled at the end of February, and in March, we'll show you the dates at the end of the presentation. But those are a really good opportunity to be part of it's a casual conversation with the water issue leader, where they'll talk about their work, and AquaHacking participants or potential participants or prospective participants, I should say, can be part of this discussion and ask their questions and get a better sense of this water issue. And then in phase 1, I mentioned the Entrepreneurship 101, but there's also on-demand videos and workshops about design thinking, legal affairs, networking, how to prepare a good pitch. So there's lots of resources there for you to develop your skills and knowledge in those areas. And then in phase 2, this is for the finalist teams, you'll go through some leadership development and also business development workshops. And so throughout the challenge all the participants can access these resources. And then in phase 2, we have some specific, more tailored workshops for the finalists.
That is yours too, my dear.
Okay, thanks. So we also have mentorship. Mentorship is key throughout the whole challenge. Carolina talked about the water issue leaders who are experts in their field. There's also business experts that will help you guide. You know, if you've never made a business case before, they'll be the ones who will coach you on how to do that. And then there's the alumni members as well. So if you have a project that's kind of similar to what some of our alumni members have done, I can put you in contact with them and you can chat with them about what they did, what worked, what didn't, that sort of thing. So regardless of what sort of, you know, if there is a gap in your knowledge or you're wanting to develop your skills in a specific area, we will put you in contact with someone who will help you do that. So if you're not so strong on the technical side, like maybe you need some support in terms of hydrology or biology or the sciences, we'll put you in contact with someone who can help you with that. And then same thing with all the other parts that goes into making a startup. You know, if you are more from a science background or technical background, then we'll make sure to match you with mentors who will help you develop skills in the more business development side of things. So HackWorks in phase 1 will be the ones to help you with that. So if you do know that you have a mentor need, be in touch with HackWorks, ask them, you know, can you help me be put in contact with someone? And then in phase 2, it's the Okanagan Basin Water Board and AquaForum. So mentorship is really key to the AquaHacking Challenge and is a good opportunity for you to meet people that you otherwise may not have had the opportunity to do so if you weren't in the challenge. Very quickly, I'll talk about the semifinal judging criteria. So this is important to think about as you do start creating your solution. You'll be assessed on business potential. So whether it's realistic and whether it's a sustainable business model, effectively addressing the water issues. So when you do pick your water issue, make sure that what you build actually addresses the water issue. Technical feasibility and functionality. So if you are using technologies like artificial intelligence or machine learning, or we want to make sure you know what that means, you know, that you know what those things are and you're applying them in a way that is feasible and functional. And then of course, the innovative side of things. We want to make sure that if something already exists, similarly to what you were making, maybe it could be more innovative. And so you will be assessed on on how innovative your solution is.
This is kind of a summary before we give the word to Rudy and Jaden. So in case you want to participate, just remember to register online at this link, and the deadline for that is April 15. Once you do that, you can build your team, invite friends, or find a team members on the platform that we mentioned before. You need to select the water issue to tackle. You can, if probably you already have a water issue in mind, but if you need more information, remember that we have for each of the water issue a 10-minute video that you can watch to make your decision. And also we will have those sessions, the EMA, where you will be able to interact directly with the water issue leaders and ask questions about the issue. You will connect with your mentors. Of course, you will be working in developing your solution. And then in mid-May, you will pitch at the virtual semi-final competition. The top 4 teams that move into the final pitch, they will receive $2,000 to invest in their startup solution. The next one. Those are, like, just to give you an idea, our sponsors who are making this challenge possible. So of course, we want to acknowledge them. And then last but not least, we have here Rudy and Jaden, which are members of the GAPS team that placed second on the AquaHacking BC Challenge last year. And sometimes, like Melissa and I can give you a lot of information about the challenge and we can answer any question you have, but there is nothing like the real testimony of people that had participated in previous challenge. And Rudy and Jaden will tell us a little bit about their experience and any other detail that they want to share with you. So Rudy and Jaden, they are all yours.
All right, awesome. Yeah, thank you very much, Caroline and Melissa. So I guess we can start off by just giving you a bit of a run through of how things went for us in the program, and hopefully somewhere in that story you'll find evidence for all the things that Melissa and Caroline talked about already. So we started, like Carolina mentioned at the beginning, actually as part of the AppSci 169 group at UBCO, and that was how we started into the AquaHacking competition. And in the initial phase 1, that was, I would argue, really the hardest time for us, honestly, because that's when you're faced with just the problem and no solution. And that can feel like a very challenging task, because you know, there's anything you can do. There's a huge amount of variety of things, and it's hard to figure out what the best way is forward. And that was a big challenge for us. And you know, starting from that point of not knowing what to do, definitely not having the technical or business skills to actually realize any solution to that problem. And then now looking back after a year and some change at where we are now, I have to say that, you know, it's really remarkable, our experience with the AquaHackers, and we're also thankful of the opportunity that we've had with AquaHackers to develop those skills and stuff that Melissa and Carolina were talking about in the process. So if I was to talk about, you know, the most beneficial part of the AquaHackers experience, I would say that whether you're someone from, I would say traditionally where people are right now in sort of their early undergraduate, that was our experience at least, people either don't know what they want to do yet, or they have sort of some very particular skills. For example, I was more technically inclined, and that was the case for a lot of my team members as well. But going through the AquaHackers process, we actually learned a lot about business, about the different parts of business. That includes like marketing, intellectual property. We learned about a lot of the legal things, how to structure corporations so you can take on risks as entrepreneurs, and other important things like that go into it. So there's a lot of ground you'll cover in the 8 months between the two, between starting and when you finish with AquaHackers. But with that lot of ground, you will definitely develop as a person. You'll become more capable at problem solving, in my experience, and it's some great experience to have under your belt. Perhaps some of the things I can attest to is just how useful the AquaHackers experience was for us afterwards in other things. So I can, you know, Jade and I can talk about our specific venture if you'd like as well. But you know, after first year, I applied to the engineering physics program at UBC Vancouver, and the AquaHackers experience was actually a big part of my interview process. And that was a similar theme that I also saw when I was applying for co-ops as well. Is in interviews I would talk about the AquaHackers experience a lot, which I wouldn't actually have thought of prospectively would be the case, but retrospectively, after getting the job and talking to my employer, it starts to make sense why. Because really what I think the AquaHackers experience demonstrates once you've gone through it is one, that you take on initiative, because it's actually a big task to start from just a problem and then come up with a solution. That is what it means to be an entrepreneur in many ways, and it's what it means to bring change, is be willing to see a problem and create a solution. And the fact that you start off with very little skills perhaps that are relevant to starting a venture in some sort of technical endeavor towards one of the water issues, that actually shows something, because you learn how to learn quickly. That's another thing. Jaden and I know I can speak for Jaden here because we've had these conversations, but we definitely didn't start with all of the knowledge that we needed to make our product possible. But what happens is that you start with that problem, and then you incrementally come up with the next idea, and everything just happens in a stepwise fashion. And incrementally, as you come up with the next thing you want to do, you also learn the next skill that you need to. So over time, when you look back onto it, you've learned a lot. And one of the things that I know, speaking with my employer, he talked about with me, was that he was really impressed with how much experience there was, just because we went from the ideation process of how do you see a problem and come up with a solution, how do you analyze the existing solutions in the market, identify their weaknesses and translate those weaknesses into potentially a new solution that makes up for them. Then how do you actually build a product or come up with a plan to build it? And then how do you market it, make it feasible in a business fashion, create a business model so that you can continue to build a product? And then, like I said, other things like, legally creating corporation, founders agreements, these are all fantastic experiences to have. And for them to be jam-packed in 8 months was truly fantastic in our case. And I'm really thankful for that. So that's my experience. Jaden, you wanna come in?
I think you covered pretty much everything there. I guess another thing I would like to add is our business mentor absolutely helped us so much during our time, especially with the pitch, because I feel like as engineers we sort of default to technical language. So having a business mentor to really to help us speak more concisely is absolutely helpful.
Yeah, definitely. The mentorship that we received, like Jaden was talking about. So we worked with a business mentor at the beginning. That was after we won semifinals. So we had that 2000, which was great because that allows us to do a lot of things that a new startup needs to do and create a prototype and stuff. And then working with a business mentor, like Jaden said, was really invaluable. And then after that, we also partnered with another mentor we had was a technical mentor from Ovivo, I think. And she was down in the States, but she still was able to call with us and help us with the more technical aspects of our project. And then after we actually won the competition, we got even more networking assistance from MyTax to get even more funds. We were second place, so we didn't get the 20,000, we got the 15. But through a 4-to-1 match with MyTax, we're currently slated to get about $60,000 to work on our venture. So we're really excited for that. And then we also used the Lavery lawyers credits to incorporate a federal corporation to take on risk in this venture. And then, all of these partnerships that Melissa and Carolina talked about, and they aren't nominal. They aren't only nominal. We actually used them. We actually really benefited from them. So I'll definitely second what Jaden said about the mentorship. Very, very useful. Yeah. But I think another thing about having us here is you can ask us questions because I imagine that's one of the benefits of attending this live. So please, if you have any questions, I know I'm very willing to answer them. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you so much to both of you. Maybe before we continue on, can you give a bit of a breakdown on what it is you built through GAPS and what your solution was?
Yeah, for sure. So we worked on one of the water issues last year was stormwater contamination. And the idea being, just as we continue to urbanize, we put in more and more impervious surfaces into our cities. So when we have precipitation events and rainfall or whatnot, combined with those impervious surfaces, what happens is that stormwater ends up flowing through our streets and collecting all the contaminants that we as humans inevitably leave as we live our lives. And then they make their way into storm drains before converging onto central water bodies, like I know in the Okanagan. It's the Okanagan Lake. So that problem with stormwater contamination is a real issue, and it's one that's been under-addressed for some while. So in face of that issue, what we developed was basically a unit that slides into existing storm drains and is able to filter out contaminants as early as possible in sort of the infrastructure cycle. Immediately as stormwater picks up these contaminants, the first point of entry it has into a municipality's infrastructure is through those storm drains. So implementing a simple slide-in filter that goes into those storm drains was a different way of approaching the problem, because existing solutions called for large, basically civil engineering projects to occur that would force you to basically dig up existing road or existing land and find the pipes and then install something within the pipes, and you need multiple of those units. They cost tens of thousands of dollars, and we were able to create a much simpler solution that simply fit into existing storm drains. And that was actually what I would call the first iteration, not of our product, but of our idea. I think there's two things. You tend to iterate your product, and your idea also tends to iterate as well. And there happened to be another water issue last year, flood monitoring. And just at some point, and this is something I think that really commonly happens when you're working on a product for so long, is we just had this realization that, hey, you know, we're already in so many storm drains. If this works, how hard would it be to address floodwater monitoring at the same time? Because the first point where you can address floods is as soon as you see backflow from stormwater drains. And turns out it's really simple. It's not exactly super simple, but it's relatively simple if you already have the infrastructure in this storm drain to add the sensor equipment and sort of the communications equipment to then monitor for floods. And then at that point, we also realized that, wait, we can make our existing filter smarter, because now we can add other sensors that would tell a city when certain sediment levels had reached a certain point or whatnot. So that's basically the overview of our equipment. It's a slide-in unit that filters out contaminants from stormwater, reports back on gives back flood warnings, and also is able to talk about current maintenance status as well.
That's great. Thank you. That's really neat that you're expanding now to see how you could address the flooding issue as well. That's awesome. So yeah, while we have Rudy and Jaden, I really do want to get to the Q&A period. Before we go there, I did just want to mention the Ask Me Anything sessions that are coming up. So out of these 4 water issues, you know, if one of them really interests you, or maybe you're interested in all of them and you want to kind of assess which one is the best one for you to tackle, you can participate in these Zoom meetings. They're just going to be a Zoom meeting like this one, and chat directly with that water issue leader. So there's more information on the website where you can register for these Ask Me Anything sessions. But yeah, this is the opportunity to really get into kind of like the technical aspects of the water issues and understand where you can get involved and how you can make a difference. All right, time for questions. I'm gonna close the PowerPoint so we can see each other. And if you have any questions, this is your time to ask.